Welcome back to Just a Cup on the Bleav Network, where we dig into performance, innovation, and the plays that turn fans into family. I'm your host, Brian Fetzer, and today's guest, Blake Patterson, who is the co-founder and CEO of the Wunder Company, the team behind Wunderfan, an all-in-one sports loyalty platform rewarding fans for everything from going to games to catching a broadcast at home. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about that. And Wunderpar, which turns every round of golf into rewards where you can actually use. We're talking about community, loyalty, innovation, and how smart gamification reshapes the fan experience and really the bottom line as well. Blake, I'm excited to dive in and get a chance to talk more and learn more. And first off, having spent time in Starkville, Mississippi, I've got to acknowledge that you went to the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, which is having an incredible run in football right now, by the way. Lane Kiffin's got them rolling.
Yeah, we got a big game coming up this weekend over in Athens. And last time we went there, I think it was like 55-19. So we'll see if we can make it a little better than that. But yes, it's been an exciting year, up to number 4 in the country. And we'll see obviously having a 12-game playoff obviously opens up more opportunities for teams. So
definitely.
Fingers crossed.
Definitely. Hey, so let's talk about the origin story. What problem did you see with fan engagement that kind of sparked Wunderfan?
Yeah, so I think it goes even a little deeper than that. My entrepreneurial journey really started almost since day one. My family has been in the insurance business way before I was born. My granddad built a life insurance company out of Chicago and grew it across the country and sold it to New York Life. And I got to see the ins and outs of what it was being an entrepreneur. And I had a company that we formalized here in the Birmingham area called Simpio about 5 years ago, which was a PEO, which for a lot of people out there, that might be a foreign concept, especially in the South. But down in Florida, where you're based out of, it's kind of secondhand when it comes to what PEOs do. They do payroll, compliance, HR, and benefits. And I say all that because they're addressing a lot of things that small businesses are dealing with. And so I wanted to create a flywheel effect that was very advantageous to a multitude of people in the market. So insurance companies, brokers / consultants, businesses, banks, CPAs. What do they all have in common? They're trying to lower costs. At the same time, they're trying to do what's best for their customers. So we brought something into the market, being PEO, being simple PEO, to where we said, okay, we're going to go create something that we can decrease the cost of insurance for a significantly large amount of medium-sized employers. So basically 5 employees to 50 employees. While doing that, we can not only reduce their cost in health insurance, but we can reduce their overall cost net of our fees 93% of the time, while taking care of all these things like compliance, HR, payroll, things that a business person didn't start the company to do, but you have to do Monday through Friday, January to December, 8 to 5 all the time. And we said, look, we're going to take that off your hands. And when we created that flywheel effect for saying, hey, you're going to benefit being the broker, being the bank, being the CPA, going to these businesses, showing what we're doing, and you're going to make money doing it. And when we did that, we built the company to over 10,000 employees in 48 states. We got bought by the largest privately owned PEO in the United States out of Cleveland, Ohio, called GMS. When that happened, my wife told me really probably about after 3 weeks, she was like, you're going to drive me crazy if we're just sitting around not doing anything. And I said, look, I will work till the day I die because I will drive myself crazy too. And I'm an absolute sports fanatic. Literally like 2 weeks after my wife and I got married, and speaking of Georgia, the Auburn-Georgia game was coming on. It was a 2:30 CBS game, and we were having people over. And she was getting ready to go shopping. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, people are coming over, including your friends. And she looked at me and she said, Blake, honestly, I hate to tell you this, but you have ruined sports for me. She's like, every single night it is something. And she was like, I didn't even know you liked hockey. I didn't even know you liked baseball, but it's always the biggest game, to where my kids now constantly are just like, oh, Dad's got the biggest game. And I'm not even like a gambler. I just love the sport. I say all that to say, okay, why did we create something? Because my thesis as a founder, and I always think of myself, yeah, it says founder and CEO next to my name, but I think of myself more as a GM of finding the right people that can go and help create an opportunity.
Right.
And one of the things that I've constantly been hearing about, especially in the sports world, me being in Birmingham, we're only 45 minutes down the road from Nick Saban, or what was Nick Saban for 16, 17 years. Every Monday, he'd always get up, sitting there talking at to the media with his Coke bottle and his Asani bottle. And he always had an angle of like, oh yeah, we kicked everybody's butt, but we got to work on this. But he always somehow mentioned, I need the students to stay in the stands.
Yes, he did. Very famously.
Constantly saying that. And a lot of times the reason why they're not in the stands is because they're kicking everybody's butt by halftime, unless it's like LSU or Tennessee or Auburn every 4 years. Like it was a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as a sports fan, we're not in 1985 anymore. We're not in 1992. We have access to sports everywhere. Whether you're a YouTube subscriber, you're a charter, you name it, the games are coming on all the time. So me as a typical fan, I wake up on a Saturday, I can watch College Game Day or Big Noon from 8 to 11. The games on Central Time Zone come on from 11 to 2:30. Then you got your 2:30 to 6:30, and you got your 6:30 to 9:30. And anybody still watches the Pac-2 After Dark, you've got TV/football on for 13, 14 hours. Why do I need to leave my couch? Well, Bryant Denny holds 101,821 people. Jordan Hare holds 88 some change. Over there in Athens holds 92 and some change. Down where you are at Hard Rock Stadium / the Swamp, you got 88, you got 67,000. I can go on and on and on. But my point being is, why do you go to the game? You go for the experience.
Right.
So we thought to ourselves, how do we create something that's a 24/7 app? Well, we already had an app that was in place. And that was actually called Wunderpar.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got introduced to a gentleman from one of my consultants. His name is Mike Levy. Mike Levy is down where you are, down in the Fort Lauderdale area. He created CBS Sportsline, which became CBSSports.com.
Right.
I got on the phone with him and he said, why don't you come out to Vegas? Because I had another tech platform that I was doing called Inmo. Which is really kind of a DraftKings / American Idol mixed together, where people were creating content, but instead of the algorithm awarding you, aka you went viral, people were voting on your videos on a day-by-day basis, and there was a winner at the end of the day, and people were winning cash. And it caught some attention, but at the same time, it was very generic. It was very kind of broad. And he said, come to Vegas, and by the way, let's create a video of the GOATs. Let's do MJ versus Brady. And so we created a video. I met him at the Wynn Casino in the sports book, and we're sitting there talking, and his wife comes up, and she's actually from Jackson, Mississippi. So all these, you and I talking, all these dots are starting to connect. And he asked me, he said, do you want to play golf tomorrow at the Wynn? And of course, I'm thinking in my head, yeah, absolutely. But my wife, she's over at the pool at the Bellagio because I'd asked her to come out there with me. And, it wasn't hard to convince her to come out to Vegas. But I said, man, I really appreciate it. But I'm here with you right now. I can't leave her again tomorrow. But he said something that I will never forget. He said, the great thing about golf is you can't lose. Whether you shoot 102 or you shoot 75, you can't lose because you're on the course. How great is that? You're playing.
That's a very valid statement. Very valid.
Now, that's pretty much, I think, all he meant by that. But it really caught my attention because on the way home and over the next few days, I just kept thinking to myself, there's more to this than what he just said. And so I've been very fortunate of being able to attract very significant talent onto our teams. And so we are a worldwide team. We've got people all the way from Cape Town, South Africa, to New York, to Atlanta, to Vancouver, to Austin, Texas, all the way out to LA. So we're 10 hours apart, which means that we're working 24/7. Nobody at some point in time doesn't have their hand on the dial. And I went back to our team and I said, look, there's got to be a way of what we're doing where people are earning, but we can make it even easier. What if we gave people the ability to do what they already love to do and they could earn for doing it? So we created this kind of hobby, which we created Wunderpar. We said, all right, we're going to map out golf courses around South Africa, and we're going to give people the ability to earn while they play golf. So what literally happens is you get on the course. The app knows if you're on the course or if you're not on the course from our string technology, on some of it being patent pending. And literally you hit a button and you start earning our Wundercoin. Now, a Wundercoin, what is that? It's a crypto token that actually has no liquidation to it as of yet. I think we're a little too early. So in the kind of the simplest of form, it's like an arcade ticket.
Okay.
So you're earning these tokens. And we started putting it out on social media, whether it be TikTok or Instagram, but we said we can't be very spammy about it because the algorithm will shoot that down because we're selling something. So we were just saying, hey, we're on hole number 7, guy got a double or guy got a par. And oh, by the way, I just earned by doing that. Then we started doing drops where we're saying, hey, like on hole number 3, we're going to put a sleeve of balls out at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And people started downloading the app and people started showing up to the courses. And we said, all right, we got to make this more personable because yes, you're earning, but I believe competition is a good thing. So I said, what if we gamified this where now Brian can see what other people are earning around the area, and every week and every month there's prizes, there's drops. So now you're in competition. But once again, going back to the Symbio thesis, this is advantageous for the golfers. It's advantageous for the courses because now the courses started reaching out to us and they said, we're seeing more traffic because our course is on your app. Is there a way that we can figure out how to get more people here? So we started putting boosters in there where Brian could say, hey, I can put $1 in. Instead of earning 40 coins per 18 holes, I can earn 80 coins. I can put $2 in and I can get 2x and I can get 120 coins. We also had it where you could go in the 19th hole and you could scan at the POS and you could buy beer with it. So now we were driving not only traffic to the course, but we were driving traffic into other ways of the course and the ABCs that I call them, whether it be the clubhouse, whether it be the 19th hole.
Right.
When we started doing that, we had Callaway come to us from over there and say, we want to be your official sponsor. Then Good came along, and then Titleist came along, and I told the guys, I was like, we've got something here.
Absolutely. Those are heavy hitters.
So going back to, opportunity at hand, I said, look, this is South Africa, and as great as South Africa is, and I feel like it's easier to break into a market like that. There's a much larger addressable market here when it comes to America, when there's 341 million people that live here with the big 4. So it's football, basketball, baseball, and hockey. At the same time, I said, look, you only play golf so much. Even if you're an avid golfer, you only play once, twice a month, a few times a year. How do we create something?
Down here, the old folks play it on a regular basis.
Yeah. Even in that regard, the average person uses only 4 apps. So you've got to have something that gives them significant ROI, because every day when I wake up, I think to myself, before I get out of bed, what do I have to do that day? We all do this. We're all a bunch of ADD goldfish, all 8 billion of us on planet Earth. We think to ourselves, what am I going to get out of it? I've got this cup of coffee. I've got this TV show. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to go exercise. I'm going to go to my job. I'm going to do whatever it might be. What am I going to get out of it? And we've become in such a way that we have to have instant gratification. So you have to make it easy. You've always heard you got to make it to where a 4th grader understands. You got to make it to where a 4th grader understands. But not only that, but it's also the 4th grader likes it. Right. Because the 4th grader has a lot of opportunities that they didn't have back in the day. So that being said, we had this one-pronged approach was, hey, you attend an event. You attend in a venue, and you're going to earn for being at that event or at that venue. So we said, okay, we want to do this for Wunderfan, but we want to have a 4-pronged approach, which is you can earn by attending the game. You can earn by picking the game. But we don't want to deal with Vegas. So something we literally just launched this week, we've got it to where it's got the money line, but at the same time, you can take basically the prong in the app and slide it to the left or slide it to the right. So you take like the Thursday night football game tonight, or the ALCS or the NLCS that's going on in baseball, and you wager how much you want to put on it. And the beauty of it is you're not wagering real money, so you can't lose. It's just wonder. And that's the beauty of what we're doing, because we've got so many apps out there and so many platforms out there that says, hey, you've got to put money in to get money out.
Right.
We're creating something to where you literally cannot lose. So on top of that, we have a news feed where if I'm sitting in the car at a red light, because you don't need to be driving and watching, that's what my wife always tells me. Whether you're sitting on the couch, you're sitting in the backyard, wherever you might be scrolling, you can watch content that is happening in real time of that day, and you earn for just watching that video. But what got us national attention and the VC started calling us was we created Watch to Earn, which is our patent pending technology, where literally you go to the TV, you take a picture of it, and you get credit for watching that game. And so
that's next level stuff for sure.
So what we did, and look, I'm the dumbest guy on the team, so and that's the point, right? You find people around planet Earth to say, hey, how do we create this?
Right.
Where we got true validation was we launched this during the NCAA tournament last year in March/April. And we did a case study with CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV, which everybody knows True TV because of the NCAA tournament, not because of the true crime.
Correct.
And we said, okay, we're going to take this and we're going to award people, once again, ROI. You're going to get 50 Wonder for watching the games on CBS, TBS, and TNT, but you're going to get 200 Wonder for watching it on True TV. And all you're doing is taking a picture, and what it's doing is scanning the score bug. It's seeing what event/venue it is. It's looking at the jerseys. It's looking at the acronyms, and it's saying, okay, this is a sport, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, hockey, soccer, you name it, boom, you get credit for it. What we saw was there was a 483% difference in people that tuned into the games on True TV opposed to CBS, TBS, and TNT because they earned more.
Wow. I mean, it just goes to show you fans like getting something out of what they're doing more than just, I'm going to sit and watch games. My wife does not like that all the time on a Saturday, but hey, it's game day. It's workout game day. The 12 o'clock game, the 3:30 game being on the East Coast. And then I get too tired at night to watch the whole 7:30, 8 o'clock game. But that's a normal thing. I mean, that's what the fall is all about. And, baseball and basketball and hockey and stuff like that. And if you can put coin in the game, that makes it even more incredible. Question asked. So walk, I shouldn't say, when you start looking at habits, what nudges, build that daily kind of engagement without feeling kind of spammy. Do you have that in there?
Yeah. So it's funny you asked that, because the way that we really launched this thing was, one, you got to get people's attention, right?
Right.
And what happened was, when we launched this, I guess it was the third week of the college football season, we had the Oregonian, which is a student newspaper out of Eugene, where the University of Oregon is based out of. One of the writers reached out to us and said, I'm seeing people at Autzen Stadium use this, and they're talking about it on social media. What is this? I said, look, this is Wunderfan. It's the first sports app in the world that pays you for consuming sports. You're earning for consuming sports. And they said, okay, this sounds too good to be true. How are you doing this? And I said, once again, this is the flywheel effect. Because once again, one of the things that we haven't talked about You're earning, but what are you earning? What are you getting out of that? Well, what you're getting is you're getting access to vouchers from brands all over the world. So you go into our shop that's right there on the app, and you're getting $10 to $15 vouchers from Chipotle, Uber, DoorDash, Sephora, Lululemon, you name it. And we continue to keep bringing on partners. Well, why is that significant? It's significant because it's kind of like Fetch Rewards, if anybody's familiar with that. You know, you go to the grocery store, which I think they've got about 18 million people on that app, and they're valued at probably about $5 billion. You take a picture of that receipt and you get credit for it. And then you're able to go buy stuff with it. We're doing the exact same thing in the sports space. So now when you look at most companies, most of them spend about $25 to $40 to get one customer, whether it be a clothing company or a tech company or something in the food industry. I kind of look at it like the Morgan and Morgan of the world. It's like you got to get out there and get your brand, whether it be on podcast, whether it be on billboards, whether it be on TV. But guess what? It costs a lot of money. What we're able to do is we're able to reduce the CAC for those companies immensely, your customer acquisition cost. So once again, going back to your question about the spam, how do you make it easy? So I said, all right, let's think about this and let's be innovative and let's take kind of the Facebook mentality and put this on the University of Oregon's campus. So let's take Bumble and let's take Facebook and blend them together. And so what we did is we got some more people that we started working with, a gentleman by the name of Aaron Eichmann, who was with the NBA on TNT and the NFL Network. And he had some guys on his team, one of them in particular named Henry Markin, who's gotten really big on TikTok and social media, doing impersonations really of Chris Collinsworth. That's how he got big. He's gotten massive now, and he's on our team full time. But I said, look, I want you to blast out to the Eugene area that you're gonna earn for going to class. And literally, you're just walking around campus and you're earning. Well,
wow.
You better believe people were like, all right, what's the catch? This is too good to be true. Well, I found out there was a Chipotle in the student union. And so we got with Chipotle and we started buying gift cards and we started buying them in the shop. And by the 5th day, we were sold out. And then it just kind of started spreading. Wow. Where then we had kids at Penn State that reached out to us. And they're like, bring it here. Then kids at Ohio State reached out to us and they're like, bring it here. And I said, well, all right, well, going back to that Bumble, I want to create kind of an ambassador program. But then Christmas break hit. Well, obviously all these kids scatter and they go home.
Right.
Well, when kids started coming back, there was actually a radio station who's an affiliate of the Orlando Magic found out about this down in obviously your neck of the woods. And they're like, what is this? And I said, well, let's do a Florida takeover. So we took University of Florida, Florida State, Miami, and UCF. And I said, first week back at school, I want to blast out to all these kids. You're going to earn for coming back to school. And in that day, the first day, and I say the first day, we did it on Tuesday because we gave people the ability to kind of get back into the swing of things. That first day, there was 379,000 Wunder earned. So then they came to us and they said, all right, let's put Orlando Magic tickets in there. Boom, they started selling. Then they gave us Arnold Palmer Invitational tickets. Boom, sold out. And the reason why is because now we were saying we can take part of that wonder that you're earning and apply that towards the ticket price. So now you're getting that ticket at a cheaper cost.
Wow. This is it's actually mind blowing, and I'm learning and a positive. I mean, I'm going to download the app pretty much so as soon as we get off the recording and broadcast. I think it's amazing. We're going to take a quick little break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk a little KPI. And I want to talk some NLI stuff with you as well. Yeah. I think will be an interesting way to go. Hey, this is Just a Cup. It's on the Bleav network. It's powered by Iron Faith Nutrition. Simple, honest formulas for real world performance, from curcumazyme for recovery to Vitamin Plus herbs, the next gen liquid multivitamin. Build a smarter daily stack at ironfaithnutrition.com. And don't forget to subscribe on Bleav and on YouTube so you never miss a cup. Watch and subscribe again, Bleav and on YouTube. I am here today with Blake Patterson, who is the co-founder and CEO of the Wonder Company. We talked a little bit about Wunderpar, talking about Wunderfan. One of the things I wanted to, kind of dive into, I mean, KPIs, they matter in business for sure. If you had to pick 3 of the metrics for, GM or CRM dashboard, to kind of judge success, of why, which would that be? What would that be for you from a business standpoint?
Yeah. I mean, one has got to be user retention.
Absolutely.
Okay, whether it's an app, whether it's any brand out there, are people coming back? Because if not, you're not in business. One of the things that I feel very strongly about is our user retention right now is about 70%.
Wow.
And we bootstrapped this entire thing. So
amazing.
We're rated a 4.8 in the App Store, which I'm very proud of. So, I mean, that shows you, and I think that's another indicator.
Yes.
It's one thing to have user retention, but it's another thing for it to be vocal. Because, if I'm sitting here and I'm about to watch a movie and I haven't seen it, what am I going to go do? I'm going to go look at Rotten Tomatoes because I want to see what is the movie score and what is the critically acclaimed or, score.
Right.
People tell you what they, when you got keyboard warriors, they'll tell you how they feel. So that's kind of 2 in 1. I think another significant thing, especially in this space, is your CPI. That's your cost per install. I get sold all the time on impressions, which is great, right?
Right.
But like if I'm on social media, whether it be TikTok or Instagram, or I'm on LinkedIn or I live, you don't know how long somebody actually watched your video for. I mean,
Correct.
they could see it and they just scrolled after a half a second. CPI gives you the true indicator. Okay, somebody saw what you're doing, they're enticed by it, they downloaded the app, and then boom, now, as we just alluded to a second ago, not only did they download it, they're coming back, and even more, they're yelling to the masses, hey, this is cool, I like this.
That is so true. And I think people get so caught up in the clicks and stuff. I mean, what are you getting out of it? I mean, that's such a big part of it, without question. When you start talking about some in-venue stuff, you mentioned earlier about the kids doing things in the stands. They're following, they're doing that. Is there levels that you can create? Can you get to a certain level that if I'm like a super Wonder fan,
yep.
Can that happen?
Great question. So, those are some of the things that we are definitely in talks with. We have just brought on really a titan in the industry, in the media industry. I cannot say who that is just yet, but he has been a part of some of the largest acquisitions in history. That he loves the kind of the gamification of what we're creating, because I think the more you gamify it, especially in that demographic that you're talking about, whether it be somebody like myself who's 40 years old, but also we know this works very well in that kind of like 18 to 25 demographic. How do you gamify it?
Right.
So we are about to announce literally in the next week, we have partnered with a large bowl game. And so that being said, okay, I'm at the stadium and, if I turn on the NBA, I want to say on TNT, but that's no longer a thing. The NBA on NBC starting next week. And I'm looking at, well, I want to say the Staples Center, but it's not the Staples Center. It's Crypto Arena. You can tell how old school I am. There's not a lot of people in the crowd at the Lakers game in the first quarter.
Right. True.
So they're full in the third and fourth. Same thing with Atlanta. Traffic is a thing. How do you get people to how do you incentivize people to get there earlier? So yes, we can make it to where, whether it's a half in college or it's quarters in the pros, that you get more for being there at a certain time. Also, we can do it to where, if there's a Chick-fil-A in section JJ, we know you're by section JJ. Boom, you get a notification. Why don't you use your Wunder to go over to Chick-fil-A and buy you a chicken sandwich? So that being said, this bowl game, as I told the board, I said, look, there are, I believe, 43 bowl games.
Those are a lot.
Bowl games have just been basically pretty exhibition games. Unless it's the actual playoff. But guess what? A lot of people gamble, and we've seen what the market is for that. People watch these games. But for the past 2 years, we've also seen people going to the games, not to what they used to be because the TV product is so good. But how do you create a package that's beneficial not only to the fans, but everybody surrounded? Because I said, when you've got people coming to that game, to that city, they're not just coming there for 3 hours. They're coming to experience that city for maybe 24, 48, 72 hours. Why don't we get the sponsors involved, whether it's a big bank, whether it's a restaurant, whether it's ABC and whatever vertical out there, to where now not only are you earning at the games, but you're earning at the team hotels, you're earning at these restaurants. And now you are creating something that's not only beneficial for the game, but everybody in around the city, that everybody's winning from it. So it's not just a 3-hour opportunity, it's a 72-hour opportunity.
That's true. I mean, we went to the Bahamas Bowl last year, and the game wasn't a great game.
Yep.
There was a little bit of pageantry, but it definitely lacked.
Yep.
When you start getting into the smaller board games. So I can see how that would really spark kind of more interest and more engagement, without question. Sticking on the topic of bowl games and college sports, NIL has become massive. Of course. I mean, that's it's what everybody talks about now. And when you come to college sports, and having been a college coach for the better part of my life, I'm very thankful that I'm not involved in the day-to-day right now, having to deal with that stuff.
Yep.
But how can student athletes participate in loyalty in the contests without kind of getting into compliance? Can they do that? Can like an Auburn football player, an Ole Miss quarterback, the Chambers kid? I mean, how could that kind of work through it?
Yeah, so it's funny you bring that up, because like right when we got into this space, people were introducing us left and right to universities. I actually called the chancellor of one of the largest universities just as a good family friend, and I said, look, I can make you a lot of money. And he was like, how? Like, okay. But we also know when it comes to colleges, who I'm a huge fan of, they don't move fast. Why? Well, because there's a lot of talking heads at the table. And that's one of the reasons why college sports is in the position it's in. It's because it became reactive instead of proactive.
100%.
Some of the best 30 for 30 documentaries out there, whether it be the Pony Express or the U, a lot of it goes into like how much these kids used to make.
Right.
Nothing's changed. You just know about it now. I think that the stories used to be a lot more interesting when you had to figure out an imagination how to get the McDonald's bag to a guy. Now it's just like, hey, you go do the Jeep Dodge Chrysler commercial and we'll pay you $150,000. Go team. I say all that because college sports is in such a unique place, and you've heard so many people talk about over the past few years that college sports has been ruined. But then when the actual games start, you don't hear that because it's the pageantry and people love it, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, cross country, diving, you name it.
Right.
Because that is athleticism, that is competition, and people are addicted to it.
Correct.
But the issue, for instance, like with college football, which is what drives the needle, especially with a lot of these sports, like one of my good buddies is Bucky McMillan, who's the coach, who just became the basketball coach at Texas A&M. And we all know that university has bakus of money.
Yes.
But the unfortunate thing is the seasons are only so long. You've got in college football the last week of August that goes to essentially now, January 20th, and everything else throughout the year is about people complaining about NIL. And whether it be the $20.5 million that's allocated that the school has to do, and then it's got to be the Texas Techs of the world that said, hey, we're going to put another $30 million. Now you got a $50 million roster. How is that beneficial towards these athletes and these schools? Well, the thing that's not talked about a lot is there's about 30,000 students that are student athletes that are in the portal constantly. And about 75% of them do not find a home.
Right. Very true.
So I had, Trent Dilfer came and spoke to, and God bless him, he's no longer with UAB, but I think he's a phenomenal human. I think he will land on his feet and do really well. But one of the things he mentioned at the quarterback club was, I've got guys that are making $250,000 that don't see the field, and they're making more than the coach. You used to have the coach that was like, hey, I'm the end all be all. And now it's the player saying, if I get my feelings hurt, I'm jumping in the portal. I say all this to preface kind of your question of when it comes to NIL, how do you make it advantageous for them?
Right.
You got to make it advantageous for them where they see, like, what am I getting out of this? And I think that, one, yes, we could go to the athletes and say, hey, we're going to pay you X amount of dollars to rep our brand. But at the end of the day, is that really worth it?
Right.
Now, the wonder, yes, there's something there that could be of significance because of the opportunities that, it's not always the first door that you open that's the opportunity. The first door that you open leads to other doors that can be that opportunity. And there's a deeper meaning to that. And if people understand that, I think you can be very successful in that regard, whether you're a student athlete or businessman. But, right after this call, I've got to get on the phone or on a Zoom with a very large Power 4 team. We met with one last week, and they're starting to come to us and say, okay, we have an app. We have a loyalty platform. We had an NBA team approach us and say, we'll pay you $500,000 to build this for us. But I look at this just like the way that the San Francisco Port Authority came to Uber and said, hey, let's create this for San Francisco. And they're like, no, absolutely not. This is way bigger than San Francisco. And that's the way that I look at this, because when you're a fan, whether you're the Charlotte Hornets or you're the San Francisco 49ers, you're the Minnesota Gophers, you're the Miami Hurricanes, people don't want to jump through all these hoops to get access to just that stuff. Right. There's a reason why Amazon is so successful. There's a reason why I used to be 10 years old and I fell over myself when eSpace showed up in my mailbox.
Yes.
Because I want the opportunity to get it all.
Right.
So what we're starting to see from teams is they're coming to us and saying, hey, we've got 19,000 students, or we have 37,000 students. Can you integrate your app into our app? And now it is this university powered by Wunderfan. Right. Because they can put stuff in their shop. And I'll give you another example. One of these universities that we were in talks with in the very beginning said, look, our hair's on fire because what is about to be passed down on the hill, we got to figure out how to make this advantageous towards the school and the teams. And I said, well, look, let's just imagine so-and-so teams are playing this Saturday and I can't get to the game. Well, before the game starts, I can say who I think is going to win that game, because on average, we have about 25 to 30 games in the app every single week of like games that you can choose between that and prop bets. So that's one way I can earn. When the game starts, I can take a picture of that game and now I earn for two ways. While the game is going on, I can look at the news feed and see other things that are happening throughout the sports, just like you would go on to ESPN or CBS or Fox Sports and see highlights, or you download one of the apps and you see the scores. Right. Another thing that we just launched is the watch to earn for YouTube and for podcasts. We know people do that 24/7, 365. So now I've got 4 ways that I can earn while that game's going on. Now, what do I do with those earnings? I can take those earnings and I can go right there into the shop if I've got enough and say, hey, I can buy something from Dick's Sporting Goods or DoorDash or Acts of Valor, or I can go on and on and on. Or I can pull your official website of your university in and we can geo-fence it around the state. So everybody that just earned, they now are going into your shop at soandso.edu and they're buying your products. That is revenue directly in your pocket.
Hey, I was going to say there's definitely a lot of athletic directors and head coaches, major college coaches in sports and different things that listen to this. How could they reach out? I mean, what's the best way for them to kind of say, hey, how do we get involved? Because I'm sitting here and my mind's rolling with, 24 friends that are football and basketball coaches across the country that I knew they would love something like this.
And I appreciate you asking. I mean, really, the way this has happened is people have reached out to me through LinkedIn. They've looked on the website. They've emailed me. They've reached out to our PR people. It's pretty easy to get in touch with us. And the reason why is because we feel like we've got what we've been told. I feel like we have a unicorn here. I feel like we've got something that is so helpful to so many people out there. And you don't see that all the time. Like another thing that's about to come out, and we're about to announce it here in a few weeks, you're going to be able to get tickets on this platform. So, it's not just hey, I'm going to get a voucher, because I'll give you a great example. There were about 35, 40 guys that were at the Auburn-Georgia game the other day, and they are thinking to themselves, okay, I'm looking on this ticket platform at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the tickets in section so-and-so is X amount of dollars. But if I look back in like 2 or 3 hours, I bet they drop.
Sure.
Now, that's easy to say, opposed to just having that comfort of like, I've got a ticket. I don't have to worry about it the rest of the day. Well, 85% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, whether you want to believe that or not. And, going to these games cost a lot of money. And guess what? Half the games on Saturday and half the games on Sunday, there's going to be a loser. So what is my ROI once again? And it goes back to where, hey, an hour before the game, what are the cost of tickets? Well, imagine now you're earning Wunder, which can then attribute to a decreased ticket price for a very good ticket. So it's not just buying vouchers, because I don't think there's that many 40-year-olds that are saying, hey, I'm going to use on my Wunder to get a $10 Chipotle gift card. But you better believe they're going to buy the experience.
Absolutely.
You get the experience with that token. Another thing that we're about to literally announce, and I'll announce it right here, is we just signed on our first crypto company.
Ooh.
A very large crypto platform called Luno. So now you're going to be able to get Wunder and get access to crypto at a cheaper cost.
Daggum, this is very enlightening and very. There's so much to it, and it doesn't seem like there's an end to it, because you can continue to grow and grow, and there's so many different ideas and so many different venues and colleges, universities, businesses. So much.
We had it's called the NetBank Challenge, which it's a golf tournament that I Bleav Max Homa won last year over in South Africa. They asked us to sell X amount of tickets, and we sold them 43% more tickets. Sold out twice, because you're showing them what the opportunity is with that. And next week we will have on Wunderpar, where we will put pickleball on there. So it's becoming a country club app in itself, but at the same time, you're going to be able to earn for just walking. So like if you're walking in your neighborhood, our kind of tagline is not everybody's John Daly. You can earn for walking.
That's awesome.
But yeah, and that's kind of where, we've been talking to a multitude of people with, big pockets. My thing is, yes, money is money, because we're looking to raise where we are right now, and like I said, we've been talking to a multitude of people, but this goes back to what I said in the very beginning. You got to be a right fit, and it's a strategic fit. And whether, it's the quarterback, it's the shortstop, it's the first baseman, it's the point guard, you have to believe in what we're doing to where this doesn't just stop now, because like you said, there's endless opportunities to where the tech world, the world itself has changed so much in the past 2 years to oppose the past 20 years with AI and where it's going. We feel like we can create something where people can really make money and really be better off using this app, no matter what vertical or angle that they're coming from in.
That's a great summation. There's no question about it. I love it. Wait, so we'll wrap this up with a rapid fire wrap up here. I'm going to give you 5 or 6 questions, and you just give me the first couple words that come to mind when you think about it. All right. Favorite in-stadium reward you've seen a fan unlock?
Free drink.
It's a good one. One friction point in most team apps that you'd delete tomorrow?
Onboarding process.
Amen. Go to the North Star metric for a new loyalty pilot.
CPI.
Dream cross sport challenge inside Wunderfan. Kind of a mashup.
Fan bases of two large universities or two large, well-known, whether it be NBA, NFL, you name it, going at each other week prior to game.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. All right. We talked about Wunderpar a bunch. Your golf handicap.
Right now, I'm a 5.6, which is a really scary place to be. And I'll tell you why, is because when you get into member guest or you get into a round that you're actually the strokes really mean something and you don't shoot somewhere near that, you lose money. And then your wife is wondering why you're Venmoing other people.
I can appreciate that. I'm going to spin off of that one. If there's a foursome that you could play a Wunderpar round with, who would it be?
Man, that is a good question. Well, I have to say the guy's obsessed with golf, and I'm starting to wonder if he's actually hurt or he just wants to play more golf. That's LeBron. I'd say LeBron. I'd say Brady. And we got to have somebody funny, and he's taken up golf lately as well. And I'd say Kevin Hart.
Oh, geez. That would be an interesting foursome, to say the least.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing is, you go to, and that's something that we haven't even pointed out. You go play golf or you go to a sporting event to do what?
Enjoy it.
To get away.
Yeah, have fun. Enjoy it. Yeah.
I don't want to be with the guy that says, hey, you can't play music or put out that 6-incher right there. Like, you do it because of the stories that come with it. And by the end of the round, you're like, yeah, this guy's going to be in my wedding. You know, I just met him yesterday. Like, you want to have a good time. And that's what we really want to bring to the table is you're already doing the stuff. So you might as well get something beneficial out of it, because at the end of the day, trust me, as an Ole Miss guy and an Auburn guy, there's a lot of heartache that comes with being a sports fan. And whether you're the Jets or you're the, you know, I go on and on and on. You want to have a smile on your face at the end of the day, because we all say it is a game or it's just a game, but it is way more than that.
Oh, man. So golden. One last question to get out. A one-word or a one-sentence advice to somebody launching a new opportunity. What would that be?
Two things. Find your Narnia. What does that mean? That means you find the thing that gives you peace, because what you're doing is hard as all get out. Every day you're riding a roller coaster, and you got to figure out whether you're up here or you're down here, how you stay right here. Because if you don't, it'll kill you. But if you understand why you are creating what you're doing, and you're doing that thing, whether it be meditation, whether it be an exercise, that cortisol level will drop immensely if you know that, hey, if I do these things won't be such a problem.
Wow. Man, Blake, this was gold. Pretty much a clear playbook for turning fan passion and community into some revenue. Awesome. Thank you for being on.
Well,
appreciate it tremendously.
Brian, very, very much appreciated. And if you ever need anything, ping me. But we're excited to do what we're doing, and we're very excited to see where we are 6 to 12 months from now, and we'd love to do this again.
Awesome. Hey, if you've enjoyed this, follow and subscribe wherever you listen and watch at Bleav.com or on YouTube. Big thanks, Iron Faith Nutrition, for powering the show. I'm Brian Fetzer. Remember, performance is simple, not easy. Be blessed, and see you the next time.